Hello everyone, welcome to another weekly market review. It is the 26th of July 2021. We are in the midst of one last opportunity in crypto, according to me. And if you want to know what that is, dive right in. Total market cap on the monthly. Just looking at this because we're getting close to the end of the month. Look at this wicks. It's representing demand on a higher time frame. We have 5 days to close. It's likely going to be wicks still in this zone at the end of the month. But anyways, the monthly is reflecting demand. Let's look at the weekly. It's pump at the end of the week. It's very significant, guys. Let's look at the weekly. This was the key weekly level on the total market cap. I don't know why it's been removed, but anyway, here's the key weekly level, and essentially close to the end of the week we were already close to the weekly level, and reclaiming it the way we did this reflects that this could be a very high probability that we've hit the bottom, guys. It has happened, and I'd congratulate those of you who were able to catch this with me, and those of you that didn't, don't worry. This week's review will give you a plan of what potentially can happen. So, but the weekly time frame, again, we had great demand. This dropped down on low volume, guys. If you're in the Discord, I basically had a play-by-play all the way from July till the bottom, which was close to the 20th or so. It was literally a play-by-play. Last week I laid out a plan for slightly lower, but you know, everything is never set in stone. That's why you need to be there in real time, because I was there in real time for you guys to see, and for you guys to observe, and for you guys to learn how these things are done, because I pretty much shared most of the alpha, guys, of how I did this. Anyway, 3-day time frame, we still have 17 hours to close. Is it going to close above the big 3-day level that held as resistance? I think it's likely possible, guys, that today's close is going to be above this. So it is just so significant. The last quick pump right at the end, it has become very significant in terms of price and price structure. It has revealed itself. Essentially, it was what could be potentially the bottom, and I was saying that this could potentially be the bottom, but the spike has confirmed it, guys. It's real demand. We have strong demand from the US. We have strong demand on spot. Futures are still confused. Futures are still offside. That can happen, but this move is legitimate and real now. It has all the makings of what needs to be the bottom. So come to the business end of it. For everybody who missed out, and for me to fully compound my positions, what's the next game plan? The next game plan essentially needs to be decided by first where this move ends. Okay, instead of the daily, I would go somewhere where, yeah, I have the volume profile over here on the 4-hour. So we have all the significant levels from this range. We have the POC around 1.6. This is the anchored VWAP from the top. This is the anchored VWAP which flipped support to resistance. So what I would say is anywhere in this zone is where potentially we could get a reaction. Can it be from right here? There is a possibility, but I would prefer because the thing is, this news, it still has a lot of skeptics, so I would prefer still that we get a bit of a short squeeze. slightly higher. So if we do, we just have to plot out the fibs, guys, and see where it is the reaction comes and where it is that we actually have great levels to catch that. For me, anywhere between 1.6 and the June monthly open would be great places where we get that reaction. And where would then the dip come to? I'd say this 3-day level along with the weekly level. This is where, if price really needs to, we can take out these tops right here, but going too much lower than that doesn't make sense. In terms of the POC, the weekly level, this is right where the point of control for all of the volume that is traded below here is. So let me just move it to confirm this. Yep, the POC is very close to the weekly level. So what I would expect, if we can get a point of control to point of control move, even that would be very good confluence with the 0.5, slightly lower than that. This would be pretty good confluence, in terms of what can be a potential buy. But as of now, what I can tell you is, you saw that I was trying to hedge slightly higher. I took a hedge over here as well, 2 days ago. But as soon as I saw price holding the weekly level, already Bitcoin had made a potential bullish market structure. So I totally snapped out and took profit on all my shorts. We did make a slight move lower in the evening last night, but I wasn't worried. I was actually looking to add to positions to catch a bit more of this move up. Did I think that we're gonna get this kind of a spike? No, I was not sure about that, but I was prepared for potential continuation even as of yesterday. So this is the cleanest picture on the total market cap chart, guys. The big resistance level that built the move in the structure below, that has been broken. It's a 3-day level. The 3-day candle is likely to close above that. Essentially, everybody who's late to this move is also likely going to be bullish. Maybe we still have some skeptics until we are out of this range, and because of that, I think that we will still get a reaction before we move out of that range. And if you have missed out, that's likely going to be your final opportunity to catch something at a reasonable price in the market. And in terms of the levels, I have given you the levels where I do potentially expect. But really, guys, it depends on how high price can go. Monthly open is still a level. If we go too high, monthly open would still end up being an interesting level. So just watch price. Don't try to act over smart. I don't think you should try to fade this, and make a cheap buck on the retrace, because there's just going to be some real demand piling in now, guys. There's quite a few confirmations of the market having bottomed out, so there's going to be money piling in. You don't want to be caught on the wrong side of this. Looking at altcoin market cap on the monthly, similar wicks as the total market cap. Let's look at the weekly close. Not exactly an engulfing, big difference between the altcoin market cap and total market cap, but still strong lower wick and what potentially could be an engulfing. We have to see what happens this week. It's a little bit of a scam, guys. The Monday morning pump, that can't be ruled out, but it is what it is for now. The market did move up on news. 3-day level. Okay, look at this key level, guys, right here on the altcoin market cap. This 3-day level has held as resistance since the 27th of June. Okay, we have formed this resistance and we have held it. It's a big resistance. Price is likely to close above this, so that is so significant. But if we look at the other significant level, which is on the daily time frame, let's see what happens with the candles over here. But anyways, otherwise, what was previously wicks, if it is now filled with a candle body in the other direction, you know which way momentum has shifted. So this just evidence is just going to pile up, guys. As I carry on doing the review, the evidence is just going to pile up, which is going to be pointing to what could potentially be more upside. Okay, this head and shoulders played out. I'm just going to remove it. Daily, just about trying to get above the monthly pivot. What more information do we have? I think we should look at the monthly open as well. So the monthly open is right here. Going to be closing above the monthly open as well. But I'll just give you some information regarding the altcoin market cap, what is potentially possible. You saw the shitcoin of market structure chart, didn't you, where I did mention potentially we could be in anger. So if you look at that chart, we may have completed the anger bounce. If that is true, guys, this is very, very important and very pertinent for everybody out there, and significant information in that regard, that if this is the anger bounce for shitcoins, then what potentially could happen is that everybody gets the next correction. Altcoins and Bitcoin get the next correction, but the move up from that connection, it could be only Bitcoins. It is potentially possible, and alts continue to bleed, because the thing is, I would tell you, people are very engaged in altcoins still, and what market cycles tell us, what seasonality tells us, that post July, August, September, it's not been a great time for alts against BTC. So it's still a small sample size, but there are a couple of signs I'm asking you to look for, which is once we do start to get that rejection, look at the all BTC pairs, just start charting them out seriously, because if this spike has caused weakness in all BTC pairs and they start to break some key support, that could be the early sign that the next correction could be the next move up could be Bitcoins alone to take. And this is the big alpha for this week's review, along with what I can say potentially is quite a decent probability that the market has bottomed. So yeah, guys, what, it's potentially possible. Next dip, everybody's going to be very excited and getting into their favorite altcoins, while this great big alt season that we've had becomes successful in trapping more people for a longer period of time in altcoins. That is potentially possible. There could still be certain coins that move along with Bitcoin. That is potentially possible. So you need to dig into the market and look for those, and look for potentially what those could be. It's not set in stone, maybe the positive correlation remains, but with this spike up in BTC, we already have a spike of negative correlation, and that could be an impulse and could be the beginning of what could potentially be Bitcoin's time to shine in the sun. So here we have alts against BTC, the DeFi BTC index. So on the weekly time frame, so we have what potentially can be a triple bottom. But if what I'm thinking about potentially what could happen once BTC does bottom out and move, if that happens, then you should be looking for this support to break, and which in turn would create quite a heavy cascade towards potentially at least somewhere close to these lows again. Where that targets, we have to see, but a lot of alt BTC charts may be looking like this. So you really need to keep your eyes open and have a game plan for what happens in case all BTC pairs do start breaking. Because for me, essentially, that's where the scarcity right now lies, guys. Nobody's thinking that Bitcoin could do this on its own, because everybody's still drunk from the gains that they made during alt season. So people are just not thinking straight about seasonality, about just being objective of how value flows into the system, the cyclical nature of alts and BTC, the reason why market makers accumulate altcoins and pump them. It is so much of this, guys. Crypto is a very dynamic market, and you really need to understand these underlying dynamics. So as of now, we've had this first spike in alts against BTC, but let's see if this can get sustained pressure and we end up breaking this support. It kind of becomes essentially this was the range right here, guys. So we broke below it. We just draw out the support. Okay, we broke below this, snapped back up, came all the way back down, and now we're really testing the support again. So either it's a triple bottom and we start to gain strength, make higher highs, higher lows, in which case you can think that it's potentially this range has to play out longer. But if we start to close below this weekly level and just chart your alt BTC pairs, guys, a lot of charts going to be looking similar. And so just a word of warning, and I'd say just don't get too overexposed and too excited. Okay, so we're looking at BTC on the monthly. Very similar, guys. Just look at the wicks down here. It's absolutely incredible. If this month closes decent, basically you would have no price action on the monthly, and this on this kind of time frame would look very evident as demand. But it takes time for these candles to build themselves out, so you have to take that in consideration. These things, they only look good in hindsight. But anyway, on the weekly, this is what we had analyzed last week, how potentially we had closed below what was weekly support, but the volume was very low. So I was telling you what prices being deliberately walked down, to either take out these tops, which this would have been just guys, what happened essentially, this would have been a really evident and easy play. This wick over here is only on BitMEX, okay? The other exchanges don't have this wick. Price stopped at the yearly open level, so there's just so much liquidity down here, and this would have been just such an obvious play. So I think that what essentially happened, a lot of people asking me, how come you front ran yourself if your plan was to get this wick to possibly the high 27Ks and then move out? Because essentially, guys, everybody was waiting for that. It's very obvious. And the thing was that why the decision had to be so dynamic and on the spot is because there's a lot of things on the spot that price action, order flow is reflecting, and that just reflected that at that moment when price was sitting near yearly open, there wasn't enough juice, and just the sentiment was already too bearish. Everybody, what did I say? Once price gets down here, you're going to start seeing sub 20k charts, and the number of sub 20k charts while price was sitting at support, it was just incredible. So anyway, so now we have made the move that we did, and this yearly level has ticked all the marks with shining colors. It has passed as a real level of demand. It's a triple bottom, guys. It's tested by all means. The candle of the previous week, it has slightly higher volume, though it's not the big bull market volume, but it is higher volume than what we had seen previously. So entirely significant in terms of the move out of here. We reclaimed the weekly level, and now we're going to be looking for where BTC gets a reaction again. Where is it, guys, that you're going to get that chance to get what potentially could be the final buy? we have to look for those levels first again. We have to see where we get this reaction, guys. If it's going to be right on top of this range near this 3-day level, or are we going to sweep these highs? I don't think we need to sweep these highs now. Price just needs to find a place. I will have to go to crypto Twitter again and check out sentiment. But in terms of the 3-day, we're going to get a 3-day close. Price is rising, the spread of the candle is increasing, and the volume is increasing. So even in terms of volume and spread analysis, this is going to be a successful 3-day close, which will reflect that now price is getting bullish. Look at the previous 3-day close. Here we had a 3-day candle, the next 3-day candle, decreasing spread but also decreasing volume, not exactly bullish. But see, look at this, increasing spread and increasing volume. So the demand is there, is supply, but demand is higher than the supply. So this is a bullish segment that the market is making from these bottoms. Sorry. So let's see where we can find this, guys. Where we find the top over here. It depends. If we can get it close to the 3-day level, I'm going to go to the 4-hour. You should get a bit of a cleaner picture here. Just want to look at the BitMEX volume profile for the range as well. So in terms of clean levels, guys, just this monthly open, the monthly pivot, the weekly level, today's weekly open, there's just so much confluence down here. I mean it would be pretty difficult for the market. I mean, essentially, if we just really have to take out some kind of stops, it is potentially possible. We sweep that and get a GP retrace possibly. So if we do, but anywhere between the 0.5 today, this week's weekly open, the monthly open, and the monthly pivot, and this golden pocket. So it's a bit of a fat zone, but since there is going to be so much volatility, we have to see. It is what it is, guys. If this is a major bottom, then as of now, with the current information I have, I can't do too much better than this in terms of giving you a buy zone. So it is a fat buy zone. You will have to figure out how you want to manage risk with this, but this is a significant buy zone. It is potentially possible that price does not need to break this support level again. This 34,500, 34,600 support level, it may not need to break this again. So if that happens, this would potentially be what could be your best buy. But if for some reason there's some more cascade and price needs to take out these tops, then we could get a GP retrace. Anything deeper than that, I don't think there's too much of a probability as of now. But let's see, guys, how price structures out over here. I'm going to be watching the volume structure and looking at what price can do. But for me now, I'm not so interested in downside plays. I'm very, very focused on having a full position in preparation for price to move out of here. For traditional markets, I'm just going to leave you with this list of names where you can get exposure to crypto, just through individual stocks in the US stock exchange, and essentially chart them, find individual setups in these, and you can find creative ways to be long crypto even in the traditional market sector. So I just want to leave you with this, because for me, essentially, this coming week likely is all about crypto. Quick update on gold. I charted it somewhere in June, when we were looking forward potentially could be another great buy, a very good setup with a golden pocket retrace along with the quarterly level. We've gotten that, so we called two very good levels on gold. We've gotten extremely good reactions from there. Now it is to be seen whether this is just basing here for a potential move up or moving into distribution again. with the dollar stabilizing, guys, it's going to be a bit tricky what happens with the markets. But still, as of now, because we made a big uptrend, we have reacted on gold to very clean levels. The first one again a golden pocket with the move up, and the next one again a golden pocket. Gold moving with very good resonance. And if it is that there's a nice chart to read and play quite cleanly, this is the one. So as of now, it's hit both of what our potential buys have been, and we have a good average. Now it's only to be seen whether the dollar gets a bit of a move and commodities are to continue, or the dollar is to range for longer, and in which case the same thing will happen with commodities, that we continue to remain in this range. But in terms of value, for now we have caught it, and now looking for what kind of basing action we can get. Essentially this might be a 0.5. Yeah, so you got a 0.5 retrace on this first wave up. So let's see. It kind of depends on the dollar, but most of the commodities, they have been in a correction zone, and essentially they might need to get a bit of a base. But here gold has been very clean, so I'm giving it a special mention.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and share it with someone else. And if you have any questions about what we covered today, please leave them in the comments and I will be sure to get back to you or answer them in my next video. For more trading content and education, go ahead and click on the video on your right. Thanks for watching, guys, and cheers!